as the world goes into this collapse process. My body is just simply a reflection of it. A lot, let's see, the human body, the economy, ecology, and society all have a commonality. There are two primary phases: growth and refinement, or pruning. You'll notice that economists are constantly calling about growth, 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 growth. We need to grow, we need to grow, we need to grow. Watch a tree. A tree that grows too fast is easily diseased. It's easily blown over by the wind. Texas says bigger is better. Growth, 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 growth. That's an imbalance. It's out of sync with nature. So naturally, as we try to stave off the pruning, which is always painful, it leads to a collapse, a disease. Society's in disease mode right now. Can't be helped. It's not a problem. It's an attempt at rebalance. You'll notice that reason has become almost a negative word in our societies these days. Right? More and more is our language becoming distorted. More and more are categories being dismissed. That leads us into chaos. Now, if they're unhealthy categories, they need to be pruned. If they're healthy categories, they need to be maintained in order for society to exist. We have a lot of unhealthy categories. They will be pruned. Can we maintain the healthy categories? Primarily freedom of speech, without which there is no corrective mechanism. Find your voice. Speak out. It's a challenge. It's going to take courage. But guess what? Being you will take more courage than doing anything else possible. And you can't be you so long as you stifle your voice. Don't be afraid of your voice. Take courage. Unless you want to be afraid of your voice. That's not a problem. Unless your aim is to awaken, in which case being afraid of your voice becomes the problem. It's out of alignment with your aim. And so all that I say here is according to your aim. You're here. Maybe it's my false assumption to assume that your aim is to awaken. All right, so who here is not interested in fully manifesting, fully embodying the truth of themselves to the world, to themselves? Raise your hand. Who here wants to be the fullness of themselves? Raise your hand. All right. That will take courage. The greatest courage that a human being can manifest, the fullness of you. It will also take pruning. Most of what you think you are is a lie and may need to burn off. And the beginning of the burn off is to start taking accountability for whenever you cower, whenever there's arrogance, blame, shame, guilt, or victimization. Watch it in your bodies. It shows up in your body. The mouth is fucking lying almost all the time. Watch your bodies. Feel them. Body's telling the truth. It's showing where the shame, blame, guilt, arrogance, and victimization lies. Notice the end of that statement, lies. Lies. Honesty is, wow, that's a challenge. Oh, that's a challenge. What will my wife think? How will my boss handle it? Will I be excommunicated from society? Hey, this isn't easy. It isn't easy to align with reality. It's much easier to spin. We're all spin doctors. Spin doctors. Now, how many of you recognize that what I'm saying is true? Raise your hands. All right. Now, some of us think we're honest, but oftentimes that honesty is arrogant, in which case it's not really honest. That's not really honest. Energetically, it's false. It's me putting myself up and dominating you in the name of honesty. Oh, that's an interesting game you could play. Now, I'm not speaking to just those of you who are here live. This is potentially for the YouTube audience. This is just the human condition. The human condition. Right. As society breaks down, your bodies, your situation will start to prune in all likelihood. And that can be terrifying. It might end up in death. The goal here isn't to resist the pruning. If we go with it, the best possible outcome will happen. Be mindful that things can always be worse. Be mindful of the temptations of drugs, addictions, distractions, insanity, rage, suicide. Those are always options. Those are always options. As I see it, metaphorically speaking, you are God. Why not do those things? Why not? Things are going to get tough. Things are going to get very, very tough. Those are always options. Why not? But there are reasons why not. It doesn't make things better. As tempting as they may be. Dan, you're giving me a neck problem here. All right. So I'm about 6'2". I am 6'2". This body's 6'2", and it currently weighs about 140 pounds. I've been fasting for, I don't know, last 3 or 4 months. Anyway, I eat every other day at this point, and it seems like it'll be probably every third day. It's a lot of content here physically that needs to drop away. Unhealthy cells need to drop away. It's not a problem. I've seen that I'll probably get down to mid to low 130s. That's not a problem. That's a corrective element. And then presumably rebound. The processes that my body's going through will last until February of 2014, as I've seen it. 2024, pardon me, as I've seen it. It's a transformative or clarifying process. If I survive it, there's a decent chance that I won't survive it. It's not a problem. My only job is to be as honest as possible with you all as I can, hiding nothing. And I'm hoping you'll do the same. Deal? Deal? Raise your hand if that's good. Because the way you live your life influences yourself, your own body, and those people around you. You might be the light that is helpful to other people, your honesty. There are two types of suffering. There's the suffering that takes you away from awareness of self. And there's a suffering that takes you toward the awareness of self and the embodiment of self. If we want to avoid suffering, we cannot reveal the depth of our being. So one way or the other, there's going to be suffering. The question is, do we want that suffering to take us away from the depth of our being or toward the full embodiment of our being? That takes courage. We have to turn into the pain. Are you willing to turn into the pain? Show me. Show me. If you're not, probably not the place for you. Maybe you might reconsider being here. You might want to sign off. You might want to sign off. I mean that seriously. And some people are like, if I sign off, that means everybody knows I don't want to take the challenge. Fuck that, be honest. Don't be cowardly. Stop thinking about how other people will see you. I mean, how small is that? You're God. At least in my eyes, you're God. And you're like afraid of your own shadow. Afraid of what people think of you. You're not 5 years old anymore, are you? This is like junior high mentality. We're stuck in childhood. Like, somebody please love me, give me attention, approve of me. Am I good? Am I good? Am I good? No, you're not fucking good. You're God. The fullness of being, the light in the dark, make it conscious. The way to make it conscious is to turn into the pain, to turn into the suffering, because it's going to be uncomfortable. All the revelation of the various ways you've lied and cheated and put up a mask, those are going to become very apparent to you. Is that a problem? Let me tell you, this path of this trust experiment, it's challenged me in every way possible. And there are times when I'm like, I simply can't say this. In fact, there was a video, maybe number 13 or something, My Greatest Suffering. When that awareness first came to me, I couldn't say it. Like, I couldn't even admit it to myself. Such great shame, such great shame. Then I had the thought, today, I can't admit it. I can't say it today, but maybe soon. A few days later, soon came, and I made the video. For right now, maybe some of these things I'm not quite ready for. There might be something that comes up like, I'm really not ready to admit that. Really, I can't admit that. Maybe I think I'll never admit that, but maybe someday. I'm waiting for that day. I'm looking forward to that day where the true me's, the courage is so full that I could admit the totality, including the stuff that's shameful, and that I feel tremendous guilt about. Because if we can't admit it, how can those around us admit where they're out of balance? How can the correction come if we continue hiding the imbalance? We expect our leaders, whom, by the way, are not leaders, we expect the politicians to be honest and not corrupt while we're holding on to corruption. Wow, that's easy. That's easy. Step up. If not today, flag it and say, I'm going to be raised soon. I'm waiting for that day. And on that day, I'll be naked before the world and admit it. Doesn't matter if what you admit is a small thing in the world's eyes or a giant thing. Doesn't matter. Any of you familiar with Nelson Mandela? At the end of apartheid, he had a Truth and Reconciliation Committee, and the goal was just to, no matter what people did, they came up and they spoke publicly about it, and that was their pardon. That's what needs to happen. Worldwide, a Truth and Reconciliation. Worldwide, and it starts with each of us.